Sleepy Hollow Season 4, Episode 10, Insatiable. Now this episode, I think they did a lot of good stuff as far as where we're headed for, at least maybe the next couple episodes, possibly the entire future of the series for a particular character in this episode. But as I was going through this episode, this is one of those times where every once in a while I'll just be doing something else and I hardly pay attention to the episode. I watched the whole episode and I barely paid a single bit of attention, but I got all the really important stuff, so that's what I'm going to talk about. And when I look back on it, I kind of got everything from the episode, and that I don't know if that's good or if that's bad because I hardly paid attention. I had to rewind certain scenes, and I still managed to get like everything, even though if I try to think of how everything looked, barely got any of it visually, but I like heard everything, so I got all the important stuff. And so it starts off pretty simple. We have our monster, being created, and it's like it basically gives people, it forces them into famine in a sense. It makes them overeat, and then it kind of takes everything that they've eaten plus everything that they need, and they're just left as a husk, and it kind of moves on. So it starts off simple. It's a monster. The team is like, all right, well, we don't have any real clue as to what this thing is. Diana is kind of on a rampage, and that was kind of the funny thing. It was kind of like, she was super mad, and she's going after Dreyfuss, but it's like this insane rage where it's just like, oh, but I don't know where to direct it because we don't know where Dreyfuss is. They had no clue where to find him, so she was really mad. And as they're going along with this mission, we have Ginny and Ichabod, and they're like, all right, this is what we'll do. Diana, you come with us. We'll go after this monster. That was pretty much it. Alex and Jake were kind of just at the vault. Nothing else. But she's like, hey, why don't you guys look into this and we'll go do the monster thing. But she didn't want to share that with Ichabod and Ginny. So it was interesting watching that, where it was something so simple. It's not like she was sending them on the most dangerous mission, but it was kind of dangerous because they didn't know what they were walking into. And Jake even kind of says it like, well, what if the crazy monster thing is in this area? And it's like, well, kind of like, be careful. And it's like, all right, well, you're sending us into this without, Ichabod or Jenny or you, and because they are, even though they're involved more than Diana as far as experience with the supernatural, skill-wise, they still are the least, useful characters as far as having just natural skills in combat and things like that. Ichabod was literally in the war. Ginny, who knows what secret experience we haven't even seen her utilize yet. And of course Diana is a police officer, so she has that training. And the two of them are kind of just now being officially thrown into it, and they're kind of having to kind of make up for just being kind of normal people like me who just know a bit more about old history and, some supernatural stuff that they didn't really believe was real until very recently. So it was quite dangerous to send them on this mission, although ultimately it kind of ended up being nothing. There's no real big deal to it. But, I just thought that was interesting. Of course, it all comes to light by the end of the episode. And, they have to kind of work together as a team. Like, that's what they have to do. And there's no real big consequence or anything like that. It's just ultimately the mission kind of failed to find Dreyfuss. And, the mission to take out the monster ultimately succeeds. And the thing about that is kind of the answers that are kind of dropped throughout this episode, because it starts off with, of course, the recap from before, and we have, the kid from the other episode where he sent the video out that would set people on fire and, kind of curse people. So he gained more power from all those people that died. He gained power from that. They have Job. I don't know what he did to that woman. I maybe that was a part that I missed. I don't think so, but I feel like him killing her had something to do with the monster, them being able to get their own box to, summon the monster. But, basically he kind of killed her off. But they're building up their team, and as it goes out, goes throughout the episode, it's like, okay, we got a recap of when Ichabod actually shot the Headless Horseman. It was like, all right, I'm pretty sure he's not dead. I even said that in that episode. I was like, he shot him like in the chest area, but he fell down and we didn't see a single part of his body. There wasn't a shot of him walking off or anything like that. He was shot, he fell down. That was the last time we saw him throughout the rest of the episode. So I'm like, there's got to be some part where we see the Headless Horseman come back into play, and that's this episode. And Dreyfuss goes up to him and he's like, hey, putting the team back together, making sure, that I keep my promise to you, and I'm gonna, I'm gonna put you back in fighting shape. So not only is he bringing in, the Headless Horseman again to be a part of his team, we find out by the end that he's bringing in all of the horsemen, which we've seen Pestilence before, which I thought that was cool. I was like, okay, we saw Pestilence, and I think it was actually like, it may have been the first season, but we've seen Pestilence before, and it's like, all right, bringing in Pestilence, Famine, Death, and then, or I think the Headless Horseman is actually War. So, Death is like the last one. So, we'll see what happens with that. I'm like, okay. Once that was explained, I was like, that makes sense now. Because I was thinking, like, what's this ultimate plan? Like, how does someone, like, yeah, he's immortal, but how does an immortal person get the power to kind of take over the country? And then when you're like, yeah, he's going to bring in the four horsemen of the apocalypse as his, like, his team, his mini army with the ultimate power. I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense why the future is the way that it is. If he has the four horsemen under his control, it just works. Like, yeah, that's a lot of power and a lot of evil under one man's rule. And he can just say, go out, destroy my enemies, destroy everything, and I'll take over and maybe, give the horsemen, different plots or whatever. I don't know. But it's like, that's a simple way to do it. Use the four horsemen to wipe out the land and then just take over what's left and control people through fear, because they can't kill him, he's immortal. So it was just like, wow, that was a really cool surprise reveal. It's like the ultimate plan. Plus he's got other characters, like he's got the boy who's taking power from people who are dying from this curse, and then he's got Job on his side who's a demon with still some reason for falling behind him. We still don't get the answer to that as to why Job decided to go against this deal, like, go against the normal contract. So there's something to it, but still no answer to that just yet. But he's got his team. He's building up a team of four horsemen himself as an immortal, Job basically as an immortal as well, and a demon. And then the child, or, not the child, but the younger guy, who knows what power he's getting. He was just like, I feel stronger in the other episode. So we don't know if that's magic based or if that's making it where he can live longer, possibly to the point where he's, basically immortal, like he can die and it just takes up some of the, it just take, like if he dies once, it basically takes one of the lives that he stole, and it's like, all right, you're about, you're back to normal, you're fine. So we don't really have much of an explanation as to what specifically his power really is, if he can control the ability to like set people on fire or control the ability to just touch them and curse them. We don't really know, but he's got some power that's building up from the other episode. Dreyfuss has his evil team. We still have, our team members. And I thought that was great. I thought it was a really cool way to end the episode where it's like, here's this epic reveal, four horsemen, that's the big plan that leads into this dystopian, future. And I'm excited for how they managed to, kind of pull that off, or how, they stop it, I guess, the main team. So that should be exciting. We'll have to see who is a part of the main team, because a big chunk of this episode, which started in the very beginning, there are actually two plot lines that started in the very beginning when Ichabod kind of threw the party for like all of, his tenants, or not tenants, but his apartment mates. And it started off simple. It was a very interesting opening too, because that really was the beginning, and it was just like, man, this is actually a nice opening. And then after that, it went to kind of the darker stuff. And it's just, people walking around having a crazy big party. There's the guy Zip Zap, whatever his name was. That was a funny scene. And then Ginny kind of comes along and they talk about, her not exactly sticking around in DC for too much longer, and not exactly going back to Sleepy Hollow either, and just kind of going somewhere else. And Ichabod mentions, like, there's an apartment that'll be open next month for you to rent if you decide you want to, have a new home, or, stick around with people that you know. And then as the episode goes on, she ends up running into, a guy because she's looking for the book. And he's like, hey, there's nobody leading basically this expedition for this magical object. Be kind of cool to have you on board. I think he was talking about his uncle. He's like, my uncle would be really proud to, finally have you back and like officially be in. Because he's like, I thought you were out. She's like, not out. So there's a lot of talk of that, of her possibly leaving, which really worries me, because like, man, they aren't going to have Ginny leave the show, are they? Because then she's gone and we just have Ichabod. I still like, of course, the new characters, but it would just be really crazy to have only Ichabod as the, main member especially considering it's not like, you know, in the last season, 2 of the characters died, you know, 1 episode after the other. And it would just kind of be, she just left. And it could be an actress thing. That's actually why Abby was gone. The actual actress who played her wanted to move on to other things. So that could be the case, and why it's being mentioned now, because that is something that, you know, she wanted to do. Or maybe she's in something else and I just don't know yet. And so it's like, all right, well, we'll let you go out of the show for a little bit and then just come back later. So if that's the case, at least she'll still be in the show. But it seems like they're kind of teasing it. Like at some point something's going to happen and she's going to be gone for a little while. And that should lead to some interesting dynamics where we do get to see more of the newer characters. And I certainly don't mind that, even though, you know, it's 3 new characters and I feel they get enough time already. But take one character out, it just adds some more time. We don't really know the backstory for, you know, any of our new characters or anything like that. So there's still a lot that we could get. And I'm sure that it would be, you know, the time would be filled wisely if Jenny does end up leaving. But it would just suck in general if she ended up leaving. She's probably my favorite character, even more than Ichabod. I really like Jenny. She's always got the answers. She's super cool. She's just like, all right, I can fight. I can do this. I know this spell. I know this little bit of history. Ichabod always has his official history, which, you know, just never fails. But she's always got a guy. She's always got some random skill. She can make something. She knows something about this or something about that without having to go to somebody else. So she's just a really all-around awesome character. So it would suck to see her go, because she actually is my favorite one. Actually, you know, think about it. So it would suck to see her go, but I'm sure the show would still be fine without her. But that seemed to be one of the plot lines that they were kind of hinting at, that she'd be taking off soon. And the other thing is that Alex might actually have feelings for Jake. And that starts off because he's actually on a date with the bartender from the other episode, which I didn't know that. I was like, who the F is this woman? I was so confused, because whenever someone's mentioned like at random and they serve no relevance, even in that episode, she was only at the bar. And then she showed up again. I was like, who the F is this person? What is going on? And then I was like, oh, it has to be her. I assume. I didn't actually go back to the other episode, but I'm assuming that that was the bartender that was at the bar during the other episode. So I'm like, that has to be her. That's the only option I could think. Or this is just totally some random person that we've never seen. So I think that's who that character was. And as they go through the episode, we get to see Alex seemingly having feelings for Jake. Like during the scene where he has, it was some like transmitter, like a Bluetooth thing, so that they could take the info off the woman's phone. And so, you know, she's looking at him talk to this random woman, and he's trying to talk her up to distract her. And she's like, you know, you don't find him cute. And I was assuming that she was talking about herself and not the actual woman. So she seems to be building feelings towards her longtime friend, and, you know, with it being TV, it's like they've been friends forever, but now it's finally coming to light that he actually might have feelings for her. I love the line where she says, I forgot exactly what she said. It was like, people who are too alike don't attract in any way, shape, or form. And he's like, didn't you say the exact opposite about me and Jenny? Or like me, about when I had the hots for Jenny. And then she just kind of ignored it. I was like, oh, there she is. And I was like, interesting. So it seems like that's what they're hinting at for that. And I don't mind that. I like both those characters. It just seems like a very TV thing where it's almost like out of nowhere they've known each other. We don't know exactly for how long, but it seems like quite a long time. And now it's suddenly coming to light because, you know, he saved her life, and that's really it. And it was like, oh, now I like him because he's always been that cool guy that was there, but now he saved my life that one time, which that can change your perspective. If someone saves your life, you might look at them a little bit differently. So it makes sense, but it's a very TV thing where it's always like that one grand gesture is it. And it's like, if it weren't for this supernatural element specifically designed for this, you know, television series, they would have just been friends forever, and nothing, you know, most likely, you know, that's how it always seems, like nothing ever would have come of their relationship outside of they're good friends. But ever since the episode where, you know, he ends up saving her and, you know, trying to sacrifice himself and stuff, it kind of built up from there. So I'm assuming that's what they're doing with that, and, you know, we'll see where that goes. So, you know, we just have to see what happens. But I actually did enjoy this episode. I think they did some really good stuff as far as, you know, what's coming next. This episode itself has some pretty good stuff. Mostly the Diana thing, I think, was this episode specific. Everything else was really cool because it's like, it's great that it was in this episode, but it's mostly great because it's leading to something cooler. Like the reveal of the 4 horsemen, great. It makes this episode great because, of course, it's the one where the reveal is. So it was great for that. The villain itself was not too bad. The villain, I think, was really a catalyst in this episode more than anything. It was just like, alright, we gotta chase this thing down. That led to Ginny finding out about the horn and be like, okay, maybe I'll end up, kind of leaving the team for a minute and getting back into the game. So it was a catalyst for that, and it was a bit of a catalyst, to split the team apart so that Diana even had the opportunity to tell Jake and Alex, hey, kind of keep my side mission going so that we can find Dreyfuss as she's in kind of this weird in-between spot of rage. Because typically when someone's on a rampage, it's just they get to do it. And then this, she wants to, but they don't know where Dreyfuss is. So it's like she's so mad, but she doesn't have her outlet yet. And I find that really interesting. So I kind of hope that builds up, even though they had, their big team moment, like, we have to stick together and tell each other the truth. So I kind of hope that it still gets to build up, even if she doesn't betray the team or kind of lie to them. I still hope that rage kind of builds up in her character and we get to see her kind of a bit more sporadic, just for a little change of pace for a couple episodes. But I actually did enjoy this one. I'm very excited. Of course, the Four Horsemen review was definitely the best part of the episode. It was just like, I didn't see that one coming, so it has me super excited for where we're headed. But definitely want to know what you guys thought about this one, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And I actually want to know what you guys think about the reveal of the Four Horsemen as, Dreyfuss's plan. Maybe the kid is going to be turned into one of the Four Horsemen. I don't really know what you could do, like how Wraith would transfer into anything. Maybe death. I mean, because that was pretty much imminent, but I don't know, like a whole, a day-long curse sort of thing doesn't seem fast enough to me when it's like the Horseman of Death. So I don't know, like that's just me personally. I just feel like that just takes too long. It seems too easy to find a cure for that, but maybe it'll be amped up. We don't know what's really going to happen there. And I guess that's what happened with the woman. They just killed her, and it was something, they needed something to fill the caskets, whatever, bones or something, I don't know. That's just one of the parts I missed, not paying attention. But we'd love to know how you guys feel about the reveal for the plan. Are you guys excited for that? Not excited. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't be excited. I mean, they're bringing in the Four Horsemen. I just don't see how that could be boring. So, I mean, I would love to know if you guys are not excited for that. Would love to know why. I'm just super excited for it. I'm glad, of course, the Headless Horseman is still there and not completely defeated, and they're bringing him back. So I'm happy about that. Of course, kind of has to lead the other horsemen because it's the Headless Horseman. He has to be the one in charge. So I'm excited to see how all that stuff plays out. I'm curious if they'll ever bring back the actual, or the actor that they chose to like play the original guy. I'm curious if that'll ever happen. Like, are these characters, because I would assume they all will be summoned, but they'll be actual actors. Like, I don't think they'll all be summoned, headless. So they'll have actual actors. Will they bring back the actor for the Headless Horseman, or will they just keep him headless and it's just, he has the power? It's an easy way to do it, but it would feel really weird to just be like, man, it makes sense in one regard. Like, why would he gain a head if the body never disappeared? But if they bring out the other three horsemen and they all don't have heads, that just doesn't make sense. And if they do, it's just like, that's weird. Like, that makes it where the Headless Horseman couldn't possibly be in charge. Like, he's just gonna point and stuff, like, like doing hand signs and stuff, and it's like, well, that's a weird way to have, one of the horsemen lead. But we'll see what happens with that. Like I said, though, I'd love to know how you guys felt about the reveal of Dreyfuss's, grand plan. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought about this episode in general, so please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.